diplomatically, as we do, with nations to defend Australia's interests and to advance Australia's interests. As Prime Minister of Australia, I will always stand up for Australia's national interest. We spoke about a range of issues I'll go through briefly. AUKUS and our defence relationship. We pull our weight in this country. Australia does our part, and we have an important relationship. AUKUS has been cemented by my government and has also the support of, on a bipartisan basis, in both of our nations, and has been important. I spoke about critical minerals and the importance of critical minerals for both of our countries and what Australia can provide. We essentially have the periodic table under our feet in this country, and that's a big plus for Australia going forward, and we are very conscious of the fact that the United States is aware of what we can deliver when it comes to critical minerals. I spoke about Australia as a source of investment capital. We have, under our funds available, some US $2.8 trillion at the moment. That will rise as well up to around about $7 trillion US over coming decade and a half. That's a big plus that we have. We have, in addition to that, of course, $300 billion US in the Future Fund. There'll be a summit take place on the 24th, 25th of February in Washington, DC at our embassy. The President agreed that there would be senior US representatives will participate in that. I was at the Australian Industry Group dinner last night, and that was sponsored by Australian Super. Major Australian superannuation funds will be represented there, and they're looking at a significant investment into the United States. We have a $2 trillion economy here. Funds are looking at international investment as well as investment here in Australia, and that will be an important event as well. On tariffs, we discussed Australia's position when it comes to tariffs, particularly with regard to steel and aluminium. We have, of course, the US has a trade surplus with Australia that it's had since the Truman administration. It's about 2 to 1 when it comes to trade between our two countries. The US is an important investor, of course, here in Australia as well. When you look at the imports of these products into the US, it's about 1% of imports of steel, 2% of aluminium. Our steel is an important input for US manufacturing. BlueScope is the US 5th largest steelmaker. They've invested $5 billion in the US across a range of states. I think there's more than 30 different investments there. And of course, the major export is Colorbond there for roofs in California on the west coast, and it plays an important role. Aluminium is a critical input for downstream manufacturing in the United States, and our steel and aluminium are both key inputs for the US-Australia defence industries in both of our countries. I presented Australia's case for an exemption, and we agreed on wording to say publicly, which is that the US President agreed that an exemption was under consideration for in the interests of both of our countries. Happy to take questions. Hang on, whoa.
Welcome news, I'm sure, to the industry. When we last went through this process, it took about 8 months.
It took a while.
Yeah, for the initial look at it.
Yeah.
Are you envisaging this taking as long?
What I envisage is continuing to respond diplomatically. That's how you get things done. My government's got a record of getting things done in Australia's national interest. I'll continue to do so. I've made very explicit, I said to President Trump that this was an issue of some media coverage in Australia, and that we therefore agreed on the words that would be used, that it was under consideration. That's what I'll stick to, but we'll continue to engage quite clearly constructively. But can I say this? It was a very constructive and warm discussion, again, with President Trump. We spoke about a range of other things as well, including the fact that Jordan Mailata, as a Super Bowl champion, and I did point out that he was a South Sydney junior, was very important, and we had, it was very constructive, the discussion.
What the process will be to get a final decision, not just on the timing, but who we talk to in the Trump administration. Do we have to make a submission? Do we have to make an economic argument to one of President Trump's people to then keep up this case to his administration?
We'll continue to engage diplomatically, and we, of course, will use all of the human assets at our disposal. Australians will always stand up for Australia's interests, and we will do that. We'll continue to put the case.
How crucial is Ambassador Kevin Rudd for this, and do you have confidence he can help get this done?
Yeah, if you have a look at what we've achieved already, it's been a tremendous start to the relationship. Penny Wong being invited to the inauguration, Richard Marles sitting down with the Secretary of Defence, Pete Hegseth, just on the weekend. This is one of President Trump's first calls that he's had with world leaders as well. It was one of the first calls that was had between leaders after his election victory as well. The relationship is in good shape.
He's never commented publicly on AUKUS that we've seen. Can you tell us a bit about the flavour of his comments when he spoke about AUKUS? Did he seem in favour of the plan?
Well, quite clearly. I've indicated there's very positive support for the AUKUS relationship. I have no intention of speaking on behalf of President Trump. That is up to him. But quite clearly, I've indicated there's strong bipartisan support for AUKUS in Australia and in the United States. Yeah.
Did you give any undertaking, or was there any discussion about a meeting in person with the President, perhaps around a Quad arrangement? Is anything in the works on that front?
Yeah, we discussed that, and we'll get together at the Quad or before. But we look forward to having one-on-one discussions as well, but we'll continue to be in contact. Trudy?
Did you walk away from today's conversation confident that we will secure that exemption, or is it still up in the air in your mind?
Well, the words that I've used are the words that I'll stick to. And it's appropriate when you're dealing with the President of the United States to not speak on his behalf. And they are the words that are agreed. They're the words that I'll stick to. And I can say, though, that it was a very positive and constructive discussion.
Prime Minister, on anti-Semitism locally, we've heard from the families of neo-Nazis who are struggling to get early intervention support.
The families of neo-Nazis?
Yeah. What is your government doing to fund and ensure those people are being stopped before they commit violent attacks?
Sorry, I'm not aware of the discussion with families of neo-Nazis or where that has occurred. So I'm reluctant to dive into a response about families of neo-Nazis without knowing the concern there. Can I say this, though? My government is a government that opposes hate and seeks to support multiculturalism, that supports harmony, that supports social cohesion. And one of the things that I've done is to appoint Peter Khalil as the Special Envoy on social cohesion. That's because it's vital. I see Australia as being a microcosm for the world. Overwhelmingly, we live in peace and harmony and are enriched by our diversity in this country.
Did you speak to President Trump about his plan to take over Gaza?
Look, Australia's position is, I've outlined very clearly, we haven't changed our position from... We haven't changed our position. I'll speak about what Australia's position is. We support two states, the right of Palestinians and Israelis to both live in peace and security with prosperity.
If Australia were to be hit with 25% tariffs, would you consider any sort of reciprocal tariffs of your own, and what would that mean for the free trade deal?
Well, you're leaping way ahead. What I'm concerned about is securing an exemption. I'm about positive relationships, and today's discussion was another step in developing that positive relationship. Thanks very much.